What is up, fellow bench warmers? Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Bench Warmers. My name is JJT with Commish Eric. It's been a while. Lots of stuff going on. I know a lot of you guys are asking why we haven't been uploading. As I've been telling some of the members of our leagues that it's been crazy past few weeks. From the personal standpoint, so we haven't been able to get some time to record as well the drafts and episodes like these. So anyway, I told some of you guys that I'll probably record tomorrow's draft, which is the last of the FBW leagues, the invitational. So we'll see about that. But today we'll talk about depth charts, commish. Lots of stuff happening. Lots of stuff had happened since we last recorded. Preseason has started. Lots of players showing up. Lots of it's also nice that we're gonna do some depth charts now because we'll be able to somehow see whether some of these players are for real or not. Thoughts so far on the preseason?
Um, so far so good, but mostly a lot of teams have not been using the real rotation, so
Yeah,
we haven't seen much. So we can't really accept the breakout performances of a lot of players. Now, it's gonna be harder to gauge because there are a lot of injuries also, small minor
this
injuries that.
early, this early.
Yeah, but some teams like, for instance, Brooklyn. So we are already done with the depth charts of some teams. So like Brooklyn, we're
Yeah,
done with them, but Cam Johnson is hurt with his hamstring.
yeah,
So right now they are starting Cam Thomas, the other Cam Thomas, who's played really well. He's been scoring. We
he
know he's a
has played
scorer.
well. Yeah, he's played well when given the minutes all
Yeah,
the
we know
time.
we know he can score. And the thing though this year, if you look at the depth chart, we talked about it. Is one injury is all he needs because they're not really that deep. He has moved up the ranks in Brooklyn. So I think if you're in deep leagues, I think Cam Thomas is one player that stood out for me. Of course, the others like Kuminga.
Mhm.
I don't know if we're done with Golden State. I think we're done with Golden
Yeah, we're
State
done with
also.
Golden State.
So
Uh,
Kuminga is another player who was very impressive in the preseason, and he's, I think, the top scorer in the whole
yeah,
league in the
I like
preseason.
Kuminga. Actually, I've been picking
Yeah,
him second to the last round.
a lot of managers like Kuminga, but if you can get him the last round, second to the last, yeah, sure. But earlier than that, I'm still not
Convinced.
that convinced because Draymond. They said Draymond will be ready for the first game, so that's big. And then we know Golden State. Um, I don't trust them to play him consistently. No, they're
Mhm.
contending. They're trying to win. So it's really hard for a young player to carve out a
He's
very
not.
consistent role.
If you look at it, he's really not that young. He's 4 years in.
I think three. This is his third year.
Is
It's
it
only his third year.
his
Yeah,
fourth
his
year,
third year. No,
third
no,
year?
it's his third year. It's third
But
year.
the thing about Kuminga is that whenever Draymond gets hurt or he gets some
Yeah.
opportunities, he really does well fantasy wise. I mean,
Yes.
when
Yes.
he becomes a starter, so it's really a matter of like say same thing with Cam Thomas, maybe an injury away from being a breakout.
But
But
as I
yeah,
said, if you picked him, it's okay if you pick him in the latter parts of the draft, like the last round or the second to the
yeah,
last. Same with Cam Thomas, maybe the last round. Because with Cam Johnson, Draymond Green, we don't know. They said they're going to be ready, but we're not sure about that yet. So we'll have to wait and see, no, if they'll be ready. So at least you might be able to use them early in the season. No,
yeah.
and if you're smart enough, if they really perform well, you can try to trade Cam Thomas, maybe not. But Kuminga, I think, if he continues to play really well, he will have some value.
Yeah,
Especially
very tradable.
inexperienced managers, sometimes maybe they get swept away by the good performance of Kuminga, and then you can get somebody more stable, maybe more sure, less risky
Yeah,
player out of
maybe
Kuminga.
uh, a ninth or 10th round player, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because if you, I think the
possible.
first 10 rounds usually you don't you, yeah. Me personally, I like to pick safer guys in the first
Yeah,
10 rounds.
And another
So if you
player
could
similar to that
trade
is
up,
Jalen Johnson of
yeah,
Atlanta. Jalen Johnson. He started. He's been playing very well. So I don't know. I don't. Again, there's the Andre Hunter. There's Andre AJ Griffin. There's Sadiq Bey and Okongwu. Okongwu has been playing some power forward. Some power
yeah.
forward in the
But Okongwu has
preseason.
been there. He's been drafted. He's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
draftable. A lot of managers like him already.
But what I mean is like before they never played Okongwu with Capella. They never played Okongwu with power
Mhm.
forward. But Quinn Snyder was interviewed about it and he said he wants to try it in the preseason. He's tried it and Okongwu's been taking a lot more 3 pointers.
Yeah,
So it's been successful. So maybe they play him at power forward. That's gonna hurt Jalen Johnson, who's another guy who's been impressive. So
yeah.
those are
I
the
think
things we have to weigh.
we kind of mentioned him during our Atlanta depth chart that
Yeah,
the depth at that forward position is not really as good for Atlanta. So there's a possibility that they would play Jalen Johnson a lot more. It's just a
yeah,
matter
but
of whether who starts or who doesn't start or who comes off the bench.
he will definitely play more. No, Jalen Johnson will definitely play more. But the upside will be limited if Okongwu plays power forward. That's my only concern. Sadiq Bey or DeAndre Hunter, I'm not that concerned. I think he'll get if they play if there those are the only competition of Jalen Johnson. I think he'll be fine. But if Okongwu they try to get Okongwu minutes, then that hurts him a lot. Hurts him a lot. Minutes wise and everything else wise. And then I
Yeah.
guess another team that we've talked about already was Charlotte and Miles Bridges. Oh, I don't. If people will be asking what the arrest means, I don't know. I don't think this is a new. This is different from the 10 game suspension. This is a different matter. I think he violated
It's
some.
related, but I think it's
Yeah.
somewhat related. He violated some protection order or something like that. That he
Yes.
shouldn't be going near the woman or the child. I think there's a kid involved as
Yeah.
well here. So I think that's what allegedly he violated. Although he turned himself in, that's what I saw from the feeds. He turned himself in, but after I think a few hours, he was seen at the. He posted some uh, stories about him being in the Charlotte facility. So maybe
Yeah,
he
but
got.
that's because I think there's a bail involved.
Yeah,
But uh,
he might have posted some bail there. So
although the
if
NBA might do some more investigation into matter, so if you're drafting still not yet drafted, I wouldn't recommend really picking Miles Bridges where he's usually been picked, which is at the 90s,
yeah,
80s or 90s. We thought that would be. I think that's not safe enough anymore. At least at the 120s, 130s, maybe that would
I think
that
where I see him being picked the past few drafts, either the last pick, second to the
somewhere there,
last round,
somewhere
somewhere
there.
there. That's where he's being picked. Just because there's quite the uncertainty whether he play again. There's nothing. I think he also posted some Johnny Depp stuff, links or whatever,
Ah,
implying maybe for himself that he didn't do it's all lies or something. So at this point, I don't want to assume as well what's going on. We really don't know. So yeah, if you
yeah.
haven't drafted, like Komish said, pick him late, maybe the late round line,
He's
someone you
he's
can drop later on in case it gets really bad.
he's certainly falling, and the guy that's rising is Ben Simmons. Ben played well. Has been
Yeah,
playing well. He's been playing well, and his draft stock has been rising and rising. I think he's got to the top 110, sometimes 100.
yeah. He's
Which
moving
is
well too. If you watch
yeah,
the preseason games, he's been moving really well, more confident, not less of that tentative movements, right? He's had before. So I
people are
think
not
he's more
buying it
confident
though. A lot of people are still not buying. Of
because
course,
sometimes they're against what the B team, right? The C team.
yeah, but
So I would understand. Plus, he's maybe the jump they're not expecting him to go second rounder type
no,
of player.
yeah, but what he's doing right now, let's say 5 points, 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds, 5, 6, 7 assists, 1 steal. I think that's what he can do. The assists, that's hard to find. The multi position eligibility, point guard,
The
shooting guard,
steals
small
plus the
power
steals.
forward, I think. Yeah, the steals. So at 110, let's say, past 110, I think still solid guy to gamble on, no, Ben Simmons. So he's one of, and it fits a certain team always. Whoever picks
Yeah.
punting free throws, who has Giannis
I think
maybe,
that's another
you know.
thing. Usually in a league, there's what, one or two teams, who are just punting free throw. So I
Yeah.
don't think a lot of managers would be willing to gamble on him at this point. Or maybe a lot of managers have tried last year and got disappointed. That's how, Zion, even now, I can see Zion, being picked, 60 still,
There
despite
was
the good performance in the preseason game. We'll talk about New Orleans in
okay.
this depth chart, JB. So we'll
Okay.
we'll, we'll dive into the depth chart, and maybe we'll get to some of the
One
news as
last,
we go
one
on.
last for the
Yeah,
last
go.
for the previous depth charts, which is Detroit. I think I think a team that we have to review. No, Detroit.
Hmm.
Osar has been starting, and I've liked him more and more now as a not a last round pick or second to the last round. I think he's moved up.
I've been
I have
picking him ninth round in a
maybe
14 team,
I mean 14 team ninth round.
110
Yes.
to 120.
Uh,
That's the usually the
110.
range I pick him.
110. Yeah, he's fine already. I think I've read some articles that they are planning to start him. I think it's Jaden
He's
Ivey
been
who's
playing some small forward
and shooting
position.
guard. Actually, he's been playing
Yeah.
some shooting guard. I think they're planning to start him at shooting guard. There's a chance. No, he starts at shooting guard. So Ivy might be the one who goes up to the bench, which makes
Yeah.
sense really. And it's Monty Williams who has that coaching will to do a move like that, a very gutsy move like that. He will be able to sell it to Ivy, I think, better as a sixth man. So Osar is somebody there that I think has really risen. About the Bagley Weissman competition, they've alternated good games. I really don't trust any of those guys, but if you really need a
If you're in
center,
a
and
deep league, if you're in a deep league,
I'd probably go
usually
with
they're being
Bagley.
picked in the deep league more
Yeah,
than
I'd probably go with Bagley.
probably the 16 team league.
I'd go with Bagley. I think
As he's more
I'll
proven player,
I think
fantasy
he has.
wise.
I think he's ahead of Weissman. I think he's ahead because yeah, maybe not proven, but more experienced than Weissman, and
Proven in the sense that that he can already provide you certain stats. Because
I think he's
Wiseman,
a
we
better
really don't
player
know.
too. He's a better player than Weissman. At this point, I'm not saying
Mhm.
Weissman cannot improve. People are saying that Weissman is just what 21, 22. I don't know how old he is, but Bagley is better at this point. So I think they'll go Bagley to start the season. So if
Okay.
you're betting on it, then Bagley's a guy.
All right. All right.
There.
Let's go into today's step chart. We'll talk about Miami, Milwaukee, Minnesota, New Orleans, and New York. Miami,
Yeah,
interesting here. Miami. Actually, the most interesting part here would be the point guard position, I guess.
yeah. Point guard position. You told me you like Tyler Hero. I think
I like
he's the
Tyler
guy.
Hero. I feel that he's gonna try to prove something this year, having been in the trade talks. He's been playing well. I mean, last year I think he was already good. Last year he was
Yeah,
good. I think he exceeded a lot of expectations last year. This year I think he can take it another level, another notch. Scoring wise, I think he's gonna be solid. Jimmy, I think, could cruise in a lot of games. I think that's the usual worry with Jimmy. And yeah, they lost some depth as well.
they lost a
I
lot of
mean,
depth. Yeah,
right?
they lost
I
Gabe
mean, depth in
Vincent.
terms of the scoring, guard scoring position, guard scoring. Dave
Yeah,
Vincent, Max Struz, right?
Max Strus, Gabe Vincent. Those are big names. No, that's why Josh Richardson is one of a lot of managers' favorite last round pick because maybe he takes some of those usage. But Tyler Hero, going back to Tyler Hero, I agree with you. I think Butler. Yeah, I'm not liking what I not on the court with Butler. Off the court, I think too loose and too emotional right now about the
No,
Dame
he's
Lillard
not. He is not a
thing.
regular season type of player.
Well, not really. I
He
mean, he's still. I mean, if he played
he's gonna be
70
solid.
games,
Don't take me wrong. He's gonna be Butler's gonna be solid.
yeah.
It's just that the typical Butler, that it's not the playoff Butler, because playoff Butler is different. Playoff Butler would probably be a first round player, right? He's probably going to be a legit first round player. That's playoff Butler. But the regular season Butler, he's gonna let the others play. But what I really like about Tyler Hero is that for a guard who scores, um, I think the percentages are really good. Field goal, free throws, obviously, and then he can pass. He can get somewhat 5, 6 assists per game, and he can rebound as well.
Yes, he can rebound. Last year he averaged 25 and 5. 25 and 4. 20 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists and 3 pointers. So
See,
that
and
lies
what
his.
percentage?
No, the
Field
free
goal.
throws are good. The free throws are good.
Yeah,
The
the free
field
throws
goals
are
are
going
not.
to be good.
The free throws are almost 90%, no, 90 some 93%.
Yeah,
But the free field goals has been his problem, no. His career wise is 43.
but
Last year is
he's not.
43. 43
But
percent
he's
But
not. He's not as bad as some of the other players.
well, if you're comparing him to, let's say, Jalen Green, these guys, yeah, he's not as bad. But compared to other players, he's in the middle. I would say, like maybe similar to like a Clarkson, but the difference with
I
him
think
and Clarkson,
the volume is a lot more.
I think I really think Clarkson and Hero are almost similar. It's just that Clarkson is older. Hero still has one step. I think
Yeah,
the upside of Hero is there. But stats wise from last season, they're very similar. The difference is I agree with you. No, I think he's the guy that Miami wants to trade for whoever.
yeah.
Drew, Lillard, whoever. He's the guy that
They
they're
were
willing to
willing to
trade.
let go. Yeah.
And of course some players would take it the wrong way. Some players would want to show the team that, hey, I'm the star. And remember that players want to stay in Miami. Now this is a prime destination in the NBA. This is not like Toronto or something. So
Yeah.
Hero wants to stay in Miami, even if he's being offered left and right. He wants to show that he can play. He can be the star that they want. So I really believe that he's motivated and he's gonna show a lot in the regular season. No? Hopefully he stays healthy, but he's gonna show a
And
lot.
he
Plus, as you said, Jimmy Butler. I really don't like what been seeing about from Jimmy Butler so far. No.
another thing, if he starts at point guard, if Tyler Hero starts at point guard, which was one of the initial news, early news, until Kyle Lowry said he is the starter, the self-proclaimed starter. Um, until if Tyler Hero starts, then that's going to be another big boost for him.
True.
Player that you think will surprise? Is it Josh Richardson?
Yeah, Josh doesn't. Well, he's probably the guy already that will surprise because he's a last round pick. I
Any
think
of these guys like Caleb Martin, Nikola
Caleb is
Jovic?
Caleb. Caleb is solid. Caleb will be picked, streamed. He's solid. But the others, I really don't. I'm not really inspired by any of this lineup. But I like Hayward Highsmith. No, I like him. Who
Yeah.
One injury, if he gets regular rotation minutes, Highsmith can surprise. Hackes, the rookie, he's also good, but he's in the same position as Jimmy Butler. So, but he's good. So I guess Highsmith, Hackes, these guys, it depends on the injury happening. No, it depends on the injury, which is very possible because Josh Richardson is not young, Butler is
Yeah.
not young, Hero is injury prone, Kyle Lowry, we know. I don't know how old Kyle Lowry is. So these
Tyler
guys,
is
but
35, I think, or
yeah, but
34.
later on in the season, I like Jovic, no, Nikola Jovic. I think he's gonna get better as the season goes along. I've seen him being drafted in 16, 18 team leagues. I think that's too early. Even in very deep leagues, I don't think he's gonna get the minutes right away. I don't think he's gonna get a chance right away. But later on in the season, I think he will get into the rotation more.
All right. Let's move on to Milwaukee first. Let's go Milwaukee. Just perfect because Milwaukee is a new guy in town.
Yeah.
But we talked a
For,
bit about Milwaukee in the last draft that we uploaded, which was ages ago. But Lillard, Beasley, I think the biggest question, couple of questions here. Middleton is one, the health of Middleton, and of course, who's gonna start? Is Beasley's gonna start, or would they start Pat Connaughton or whoever?
I think Beasley's gonna start. He is another player who really isn't. He's like, he's not. I won't say like Josh Richardson, but he's basically at that level. He's gonna get the minutes, but the difference with him and Josh, Beasley's in a team that's really loaded. In a starting five that's really loaded. So, but if you're in an 18, 16, 18, 20 team league, I think Beasley is the quote unquote get the ball player here in Milwaukee. I think he's gonna start. But the biggest effect of Lillard entering Milwaukee is Middleton. The effect
Yeah,
on Chris Middleton. We liked him early on in the draft process, but when Lillard came in, I really don't like him already at the 70s. I mean I don't think he's gonna be worse than the 70s. Maybe 80, but it's just that there's no more value in my opinion. I
mhm,
think that is where he will end up at the top 70, top 80 mark no,
yeah.
for this season. So it's just right. Not like before. I think he could have been top 50. If Lillard didn't arrive in
Right.
Milwaukee.
The rest, of course, the four of the five starters are rosterable here,
Solid.
right? Solid.
Yeah.
Lillard, Middleton, Giannis, and Brook, all of them in the top 100 of the rankings. However, there are other guys here, Bobby Portis, um,
There are no other.
even Beauchamp played
Yeah,
well in the
Bocha.
preseason. That's just what I was about to say. He played well in the preseason so far.
I
He's been playing.
I don't see Beauchamp translating well in fantasy, but and plus this kind of lineup, this kind of deep lineup, it's really gonna be hard for him. I mean, you mentioned Malik Beasley, you mentioned Pat Connaughton, you mentioned Jay Crowder, Cameron Payne. This team wants to win a championship, and in teams like this, young players. You see Kuminga now before. It's just hard. It's just hard. I think Portis is the guy. If you really look for somebody that maybe is overlooked a little bit here
Yeah,
in Milwaukee, it's Bobby Portis. And I like Portis later on. Like, if you lost, like, sometimes you're already done top 100, top 110, you don't have a big man. Portis is sometimes always there, with Al Horford and some of those guys. I think
yeah,
Portis is a better player. The lack of depth now in Milwaukee because of the players leaving would help him because they need who's gonna score in that second five.
yeah.
I
He
mean,
he's solid. I think he averaged what 9 and 7 off the bench, and then I think 16-9 as a
yeah,
starter. So yeah, he's been solid. So if you need rebounds, plus the free throws are not going to be bad, right? Big man free throws
yeah.
usually are bad. His is not. So
He
I
just can't
think
block. He just can't block.
yeah, no, don't expect the blocks there. All right, so nothing else in Milwaukee. I think everything's set. Minnesota. What's
Minnesota,
been
okay, we can jump start on Minnesota. Of course, the question is Anthony Edwards. No, is whose team is this? No, Anthony Edwards, Carl Anthony Towns. I do believe it's really Edwards. I think you picked him last night in the Champions League at the 17th spot, which I think is a very,
yeah
very, very good spot for Anthony Edwards. He among those players. Remember, we've been through so many drafts already. We memorized everything already. After the first,
almost. I've almost memorized everything.
I think after the
Any
first nine, it's Lillard, it's AD, it's KD. Diba? That's the
yeah
top 12. And then after that, it's up to your taste. No, Trey Young, Sabonis,
yeah.
all those
That's
players.
why the 15, 16, the 16 team drafts is really tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah,
But
the
the
15
players
to
you got,
16.
Kyrie and Anthony Edwards, for me, are the players that can be first. I mean, there you can see that there's a big chance they become first rounders. If there's any two players there that can displace the 12 players I just mentioned, it's those two. And Anthony Edwards is one of them because you saw the World Cup, you saw the momentum of Anthony Edwards. He can certainly lead the league in scoring at some point in his career. They can go to 27, 28 points. No, a lot of improvements. Of course, free throws. For me, that's really the reason why he probably is still not in that level. He's 70, I think 77, 78%. He has to increase that a lot, no? Maybe 5, 6% for him to get there. But,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
at a high 70s, I think it's tolerable. It's easier to fix, right? When you get certain players later, you could fix that. But the biggest worry I have, and I think in one of our episodes prior, I talked about this about Anthony Edwards. It's just when, like you said, whose team is it? And even if it's not, if it's Anthony Edwards' team, there's so many guys there that, it, like, Carl Anthony Towns would probably get some usage. Rudy Gobert would probably get some pick and
actually,
roll usage. I
yeah,
mean,
but
lots of guys who probably would get usage, share usage.
I, I,
And
I,
Carl
wa-
Anthony Towns is
yeah, but
second rounder,
I don't agree
borderline
with you
first
in
round.
that sense. So they're deep, but if you look at players like Gobert, it's not really known to be usage a guy that takes usage. No, Carl
No,
Anthony Towns, yes, yes,
I know
Towns.
that,
I get.
but this team didn't change from last year. That's my
Yeah.
concern. This team didn't change from last year, and if last year, you know, that's why the expectation for me is Anthony Edwards of this year would probably be the same as last year.
Well, the point is he's a young, but the fact is he's a young player. Even if they don't change personal development, the trajectory of his career, he's already last year. Okay, let's talk about last year. 24 points, 5.8 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 1.6 steals, and 2.7 3 pointers. If he just gets to 27 points, which is very, very, very easy. You say Carl Anthony Towns can get 23. Okay, fine. But, Jaden McDaniels can score. Conley is how old? That's
Yeah.
why Naz Reid has been scoring a lot off the bench. Because there's really not much scoring in this team outside of Edwards and Towns. So I think Anthony Edwards can get to 27 points. I'm just talking about how he becomes a first rounder. He averaged 3.4 turnovers last year. That's a lot. No, that's a lot. But
Hmm.
he also handled the ball more. If he stays at 3.4 but improves his assists to maybe 5 or 6, that helps. But at free throws, you said high 70s is fine, but he's 75%. That is not really high 70s.
Yeah, that's
And
not
you're
high
not
seven.
punting free throws, but he's taking. He's a guy who goes to the free throw line a lot, no, because the way he plays.
Yeah.
75% is big. That's yeah, it's salvageable, but it's still something that will weigh on his ranking. No, but that is he's a shooter. He can shoot. I think he can improve that. Or if not, then he becomes a Luka Doncic part two. Somebody who
Mhm.
just I don't know. It's just weird that their free throw shooting is not that good. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's somebody I think that can really move into the top 15 at least.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Anthony Edwards is not a good player or what, not a good fantasy player. He is a good fantasy player. However, it's so hard for me to justify him being that early second round pick. Like, I'd rather have him maybe the late second round.
But you
I'd be
picked
more
him
comfortable
last night.
because you know why I picked him, because I don't have any Anthony Edwards stock. It's like more like, let me try this since everyone's picking him, because I never picked him, because even if I'm in the 14th spot, 13th spot, I didn't get him. Last night was the last chance for me to get some players I haven't really owned, like Kyrie. I don't have Kyrie. And then I was going through a couple of players, and then just said, let's just the other guy I was contemplating was Jaren Jackson over Anthony Edwards, um, who is another player that I don't think should be in the early second round, but I don't have any Jaren Jackson stock, so I want to get in that train whenever that leaves. Right? That's my thing with having so many leaves. We've talked about it before. You'd
In
like to get different players and see how that goes.
in Roto, I would say yes, but in head to head, I'll be fine with Anthony Edwards at the spot that you picked him, which is the 17, 18,
Yeah.
19. That's early to middle second round in 12 teamers. So I do like him there this season. There's
Yeah.
still
All right.
upside left. Little
All right.
upside left there.
We'll see what happens there. At least I got one. If he does well, then at least I'll be happy about it as well. Any surprise players that could come
A
out here from?
guy, there's actually Minnesota has become very underrated. The guys here, Carl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, because of what happened last year.
Yeah,
No, Carl Anthony Towns has fallen to the 20s, which I think should not be the case. No, I think well, if you pick him in the 20s, it's good. I think he's gonna. That's the worst case for me in Carl Anthony Towns. 20, 21, 22. I think that's where he ends. Worst case. There's still room for him to bounce back. Now he's got 1 year already under his belt playing with Gobert. Maybe they adjust. You said not much has changed. I agree, but that might be a good thing. That might be them already adjusting to each other. No need for any adjustment or filling out period. So I think for both of them, I think it's good. And the good thing is both of them are at a discount this year compared to last year. Gobert is
yeah.
at the 60s. I mean, that is low for Rudy Gobert. And if you pick Claxton 10, 15 spots earlier and then get Gobert 64, 65, 66, there's a big chance that they might be the same, no, by the end of the season. They'll just be near each other. So that's value there for Gobert. I'm not expecting him to be Utah Jazz Gobert. The blocks somehow fell off.
Yeah.
But if he can just move it back to 1.7, 1.8, maybe to 2 blocks a game, the rebounds are solid, field goals solid. Yeah. I mean, both of them I think will be solid this year.
Yeah. All right.
And last,
Jaden.
Nasrid. I like Nasrid.
All right.
Uh, I
Jaden
know.
McDaniels. A
No,
lot of a lot of people like Jaden McDaniels. I know
I
you
like
don't.
Jaden. I like Jaden. But it's hard, It's hard to build a team with someone. If you pick him in the top 100, someone who doesn't score a lot, I'm not that confident with the steals because steals very fluky.
Mhm.
So, I don't know. I like him, but I don't. It's like a De Anthony Melton to me. The
Which you
difference
like
is
too.
I like Melton, but the difference is I don't have to pick Melton that high. No, I can get Melton lower. And Melton, like Jaden McDaniels, they have a period of time when they play so well, but there will be
Mhm.
periods of time when they disappear. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, they're very low usage guys, and then they don't touch the ball, as we said. Then their value comes from steals, defensive stats and all those stuff, which is sometimes not consistent. So, in head to head, it's really hard. It's really hard.
All right. Let's go. Let's move on to New Orleans. Zion. We talked about Zion. He played a couple of preseason games, I think.
I
He
think
played
the
well.
news,
Not bad.
well, yeah, not, I would say, I mean, so. I mean, okay, okay. It's not bad, but not really very good also. Not really something that would wow you, because if it's something that you will
Not the
wow you,
Zion that you use, the
yeah.
second round Zion.
But the thing actually, if you would talk about New Orleans, is more of the injuries. I think that's they're the team
Yeah.
with the most injuries. No, Najee Marshall had a major injury. I don't know the status of that, but yesterday he had a major injury. We know Trey Murphy is probably be out until December. Alvarado is out for 3 to 4 weeks. So they're suddenly, you know a lot of injuries. Now Zion is healthy. Larry Nance, by the way, is also injured. Not Larry Nance is also injured, but
What's
at
new?
least what's new? That's
Larry
true.
Nance is injured all the time.
Yeah, but at least Zion is still healthy, But maybe some
Ingram, I think, is
managers,
still a little has some minor injuries as well.
yeah, I told you about that. I heard that he's not healthy, but you said it was a fake post or something. Because
Yeah.
there was a post that,
Zion. You talk about
yeah,
Zion.
Zion. There was a post that went around that like he's not gonna be ready for the start of the season. There's still some limitations. So I thought that was true, but good thing you told me that it's a fake post. So I think he's healthy, he's ready to go. And with all those
But
injuries,
I've seen him being picked at the 60s still,
that's good value. That's very good value.
or at the earliest 50s.
Um yeah, but I think that's good value ready for Zion. You do that if if your team is kind of safe, you didn't pick any Jimmy Butlers, you didn't pick any Kawhi,
Mm.
you didn't pick any of those players. So if your team is safe and you can afford on gambling on him, I think 60s. He again in the right build, he might really reward you there. Do you trust he stays healthy for the whole season? You should not. You should not. 60 games is our best hope. If he gets to 60, we should be happy with Zion.
All right. Trey Murphy. Where do you pick him?
Trey around
Because you
120.
mentioned this before. Like, I mean, he's not. There's a lot of uncertain question marks. He's injured. Plus, when he comes back, if the starting five is healthy, he's probably be coming off the bench, and that might not be good for his fantasy value because I mean the gap between that starter and off the bench fantasy value is huge for Trey Murphy.
I think 120 is good. No, a little. That's where I probably will be comfortable picking him. It sucks for him because there's so many injuries. He could have taken advantage of this. As we said, the starters are healthy, but if with all those injuries, he could have gotten a major piece of the bench minutes. No, he could still get to 25 to 30 minutes even coming off the bench right now. But now he's also hurt. So when he comes back, all those players that we mentioned who are hurt might be coming back also.
Yeah.
So then that goes back, to the problem. Although Trey Murphy, he's a top 100 guy, top 70 guy last year, so we know what he can do. I love Trey Murphy. I have a lot of Trey Murphy before. None this year though. The injury just hurts his value. The guy I would want to say in New Orleans, maybe Dyson Daniels,
Hmm.
could be, a guy that you could gamble on also in a very deep league. Dyson Daniels. I said so many injuries, so he could benefit. Backup point guard, guy who can steal, who can defend. If he can just learn how to shoot, even just one 3 pointer, 1.2, 1.3 3 pointers, he's gonna be something. No? He's gonna be something.
All right. Last for this episode, at least for this episode, Knicks. Of course, Bronson, Barrett, Randall, Mitchell. Those are the sure starters. I think the only guy whose job is not safe here is Quentin Grimes, maybe because
I
they
think
have
he's gonna
depth
start.
there.
They
He's
love
gonna
Quentin
start, but I
Grimes.
mean the usage with lots of players as well. Quickly, Dante.
Yeah, if you talk about not changing, I think this is the team more than Minnesota who did not change. Although, yeah, Dante DiVincenzo is the biggest addition here
Yeah.
for New York. And so, given that they did not change much, I do not expect anything to change also, fantasy wise, a lot no, in this team. The last part of the season after the trade of Josh Hart entering New York, I think more or less that will be what we will see from the main protagonists. Although Jalen Bronson, I think, is a guy who's been a little bit overdrafted in some
30s. He's
drafts.
been drafted in the 30s, I
Yeah,
think.
but sometimes I've seen him go a little higher than that, maybe late 20s. So I think that's very, very high for Brunson because he's a guy still who doesn't have much as outside of scoring really and the passing, the steals and the others, and then of course the percentages are not that solid also for Brunson. So I think that's not
For
that
a
not
guard,
by
that's solid. The percentages of Brunson are nice for a guard.
for a guard, yeah, but he doesn't do a lot in the other
Yeah.
department.
He's not a good elite assist or passer. He doesn't rebound as much. It's just more efficiency and scoring, I guess, for Brunson.
Hopefully, hopefully he continues what he did last year. He wasn't that impressive in the World Cup, no. So
Yeah.
that's a concern. He did score 24 last year. Deeper team, quickly DiVincenzo, even Josh Hart. They're gonna have a lot deeper, a lot more
I
choices or
think
options.
Josh Hart and Quickly are drafted in a 14 team. I've seen,
Josh Hart should
they've
be
always been
quickly.
drafted.
Yeah, I think they should be drafted quickly. I like Quickly. I just don't know what DiVincenzo, how DiVincenzo will
Yeah,
affect him.
that's
That
it. That's
that's
the biggest question mark here.
that's a big question mark. I don't. This is Tibbs though. Tibbs would love players like Josh Hart, DiVincenzo. He would love
Yeah.
those kinds of players. So it's really hard to know what will happen with Emmanuel Quickly. But if just for his scoring, for his passing, for his ability to really rack up those stats in a hurry, I think you can pick him. Another
And
player I want to talk about is RJ Barrett. He's
yeah,
not missed a lot of free throws in the preseason. So is it something like
is it for
for
real?
is it for real? I don't know, but
But again, Nine Cat, it's not really someone that can contribute in really well in a lot of categories.
well, he hurt before in his career. He has hurt you in free throws, in field
Field
goals. He
goal,
doesn't
yeah,
steal. He doesn't block. So he's like -4 or -5 categories right away. He doesn't pass the ball either. He does score.
he does
So
score.
yeah,
Three
and
score and rebound a bit.
that's why some managers are attracted to him. But it's like a trap, no. But this year, people have been noticing in the preseason that he's shot the ball well. He's shot his free throws well. I think he's just missed one out of I don't know how many. So, well, he's still a young
So
player.
are you jumping on the RJ Barrett
Um,
bandwagon?
I won't
Because I
say
know you don't like him.
I don't like him. I wouldn't say I'm gonna go out and pick him, but I will say I did draft him in one league, in a Fantrax league,
Deep league.
and very
Points
late. I
league?
mean, 140s already. He was
Is
still
it a
there.
points league? No.
No, no, it's actually a 9 cap league, and I picked him because I wanted some scoring, and I just wanted to see maybe he. You talk yourself into it. Like he's a young player. He's not even 23,
Yeah.
I think, or 24. So there's still room for him to improve. Maybe the World Cup help him, find another gear. I don't know.
Mm.
So
Or
there,
playing with Shea
playing with
helps him,
Shea,
right?
Lou Dort, and then Dylan Brooks. Maybe taught him one thing or one lesson or something. So yeah,
But
just want
he's not a
them.
favorite pick by
Nah,
managers. He's been
nah,
going 130s, 140s, like you said.
yeah.
That's where he's going. So it's really not a big risk. Uh, Even as we say it that his free throws have improved, I don't think you should pick him like the 120s.
No,
Uh,
no, that not.
Still, you still pick him as far as you can.
Yeah,
If you feel like, oh, if you're in the last few rounds and then you see RJ Barrett, oh, I have RJ Barrett, then maybe he's gonna be the better prospect against the other guys. Then that's where you pick him. All right, that's it for today's five set of teams. We'll be back the next episode with another five as we get closer. What 1 week away from the start of the NBA season. All right. As always, follow us, guys. On Twitter, we're a little more active on Twitter because it's easy to talk to others and reply. So you can follow us there, and of course our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Facebook page, Fantasy Pet Forums. All right, that's it. See you guys in the next episode of Fantasy Pet Forums. Bye, guys.